A planet-killing meteor is speeding towards RimWorld, and I only have 100 days to figure out how to escape, or else be trapped on the planet when, well, this happens. Meet our hero, Hund Feuerwehrato. He is a known partier and actually crash landed on the planet when the party at his space station nightclub went a little too hard. So now he is stuck on RimWorld and has to figure out how to escape the planet, as he learned about the apocalyptic meteor from a club regular, who himself was told by his wife's boyfriend's uncle's husky, but Hund was told to keep it on the DL. Although, he obviously had to tell his boys, Braff Braffington and Zeepglorp. Their first day stranded begins, and the Hund pack doesn't have much time, so they get to work gathering what they can from the crash and digging out a temporary home. But they didn't work quick enough, so they had to hold a sleepover in the great outdoors, under the stars and the swarms of mosquitoes. On day 2, the boys were able to dig out a designated research room for Hund to begin channeling the energy he usually spends dancing his problems away into RimWorld's research tree. Because if they're going to escape the planet, they will need to advance all the way to the end and build a spaceship. Oh, and we haven't dug out our sleeping quarters yet, so Hund and the boys still have to sleep outside. The next morning, while Braff and Zeep are exploring the wonders of cave core, Hund begins researching microelectronics so they can get access to a new and better research bench to speed up their escape. We do have to worry about our survival in the meantime, as our food supplies won't last the full 100 days. So on day 4, Zeep begins spreading his seed, to grow a steady supply of food, of course. And he was planting the food in between raccoon attacks. You gotta watch out for these little bastards. They'll bite a pinky clean off. But a lost pinky doesn't prevent Zeep from also aiding in the construction of a secret room. Ooh, what could it be? A goon cave perhaps? Or maybe a room dedicated to the biggest event in America in September of 2001, the release of Zoolander. Once the space was dug out, flooring was added and a light bulb and speakers were installed, completing Hund's temporary club. All we need to do is build a power source and connect it to the club. Now we're ready to party. We activate a ritual within our custom ideology in RimWorld's Ideology DLC, and begin Die Feuerwehr's first party. But we aren't partying just cuz, this party will boost our goodwill with our closest neighbors, who, completely by accident, just happen to be the strongest faction in the game, the Empire. Well, it would have boosted our relations with them, but our power cut out, as the winds ain't blowing like a hoe right now. We're going to need a more reliable source of power. We halted the research of microelectronics in favor of toxifier generators. This should provide a much more consistent source of power. But I noticed our current source of power is turning real quick. Best not waste this opportunity to sneak in a party before the wind dies down. We boosted our relations to a +10 with the Empire, and if we repeat the party, we can build up our relationship to a point where we can call in their soldiers to fight any raiders that show up. That way, Hund's boys can focus on having a good time. Oh no, the dance party has a reduced chance of success to build relationships for 20 days? I guess in the meantime, we'll have to perform one of the other 5 parties I added into my ritual pool. Hungover from last night's rager, Hund finished the research for toxifier generators, and construction wouldn't begin until the next day. Normally, these generators aren't that good because they pollute the planet, but seeing as the planet isn't going to be around much longer, we don't really care. Although, we did build it a little bit away from our base so the boys stay nice and healthy so they can party every night. The Empire must trust us now because of our dance abilities, as we received a quest to protect one of their knights from a singular squirrel. Don't fear, knight, Zeepglorp will smite the beast. Wow, that was really easy. I guess now we party with our new knight friend until it's time for him to go home. Good news is, this mission granted Hund some honor, earning him a title within the Empire. This is a cause for celebration! 2 parties in 1 day? Hell yeah, brother! On day 11, our food supply starts to run low, and there isn't a White Castle nearby to get some soggy burgers. And our potatoes aren't ready yet, so we need to forage for berries like our ancestors, but foraging is hard work. We make sure that the boys take ample smoke breaks to recharge. Food isn't the only low resource. We are also low on steel, and since we depend more on steel than a crackhead depends on, well, crack, Hoon's boys play some IRL Minecraft, while Hoon finishes the research of microelectronics, so we can now upgrade our research bench, but we lack the materials to construct it. So in addition to steel, we mine components. The next day, we are presented with an opportunity to gain another partier. But after stabbing them politely and capturing them, it turns out they are unwaveringly loyal to their old crew and refuse to party with us. That's what you get for being lame. What isn't lame is our new research bench. This thing makes Hoon's research speed up faster than a Mustang into a light pole, allowing us to zoom through the research of new special tiles that increase our research speed even more. This breakthrough in science calls for another party. In addition to throwing this awesome rager, our potatoes have finally grown and we have a stable-ish food supply. These potatoes will help sustain us while we complete another quest for the Empire, which was pretty easy. We just have to let some freak scientist test his heat ray weapon on us in exchange for more honor with the Empire. The downside is it makes our parties a bit spicy now. It also might have caused a transport pod to crash with a random person inside. Don't worry, Hoon will welcome you to the party house. It seems they like that invitation as they have joined our crew, and a new member means a new party. And that party was so legendary, the Empire just had to become our allies. So naturally, to celebrate, we threw another party on the next day. But our new member Julia was not having it, and was bullying us during the party. Excuse me Julia, you're making this hostile work environment. We shrug off the insults and receive a new quest. A quest that can get us off this doomed planet. But it appears the escape craft is on the opposite side of the map. Just for shits and giggles though, let's see how long it would take us to get there. I don't think that's doable. So we need to lock in and focus on researching through the tech tree even more now, as that is probably our only option to escape. On day 22, we received another quest from the Empire. Unfortunately, they wanted to borrow 2 of our colonists for 30 days. Hoon isn't willing to party without his boys for what would feel like an eternity, so kindly go fuck yourself. Please and thank you. But the day wasn't a total waste. We built the comms console required to exploit all that goodwill we have built up through our block parties, and can now call in trade caravans or military aid from the Empire. Unfortunately, we can't test out our military aid as the next raid coincided with a solar flare, knocking out our power. So we introduced the Raider's Heart to a rusty knife. We progressed through the tech tree until we hit a new wall after researching the multi-analyzer. The good news is this piece of tech will speed up our research significantly. The bad news is first, it locks tech progression unless you build one. And second, we don't have the plasteel to build one. And we haven't found any yet. But we have to forget about that for now as another raid showed up. And they sent 2 people this time. Ooh, we might be fucked. Since our power is on this time, we decide to call in the Empire to take care of them. And when the Imperials arrive, I'm starting to think this might have been a bit overkill. But who's to say? You know, while I have these beefy Imperial troops here, I might as well open up the ancient danger on my map and let them deal with it as well. The Imperials take out the robots, but I am more interested in these caskets. If we break those open, they can give us plasteel, but they have a hostile anti-partiers inside. So we shoot one to awaken the pawns, then the Empire unalives the occupants. We break down the caskets and obtain fuck! This is slightly too little plasteel to finish the multi-analyzer. But on the bright side, some of the downed enemies have really good armor that we can yoink from them. And the pawn we stripped actually has really good intellectual stats, which is used for research. Hello, would you like to work for us for free? We prepared a new research bench for when they eventually were convinced that clubbing is the purest lifestyle. Unfortunately, they caught a mild case of malaria and were bedridden for a bit. Don't worry though, we'll cure you with the power of dance. We really need to build this multi-analyzer so we can continue our research. So Braff sculpts a wooden statue to trade for plasteel, and he was about to hit the Empire with the "you up" text when I realized we lack the required title to call an Imperial trade caravan. Hund is only a freeholder and the caravan requires knighthood. Alright, it's time to pivot. We get to work researching long-range scanners. We built the scanner the next morning and tuned it to plasteel. Now when Hund is operating it, we can scan the planet for the resources we need to finish this goddamn multi-analyzer. Unfortunately, we don't have much luck over the next few days and have to fill our time with a new quest from the Empire. We are charged with taking care of 2 huskies for 7 days, because their royal owner wants them to see the world. But they both have paralytic aphasia and are paralyzed, so I hope a corner of our research room counts enough towards seeing the world. We are still having food problems and have to expand our growing fields to accommodate our 2 new partiers. But a temporary solution appears, a manhunter pack of wolves. So we called the local Imperial Animal Shelter to send some troops our way to put them down. And then our people are free to slice them up and turn them into delicious and nutritious meals. After the attack, we received a visit from a royal tribute collector who exchanges gold for honor in the Empire. But the rates are kinda steep. They want over 300 gold for only 4 honor? Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that. Out of curiosity though, what is the conversion rate to V-Bucks? Coincidentally, another caravan showed up in orbit, the Chubby Industries. We sell them that piece of shit wood sculpture and a few other trinkets for silver that we can hopefully exchange to a future trade caravan for plasteel. I mean, we're still scanning to find some plasteel to mine, but we haven't had any luck yet. And as you know, it seems like it's kind of my destiny to suffer. But don't worry, we're only 50% of the way to a guaranteed find. Maybe a party will help us find the plasteel we need. I mean, it can't hurt. Are you kidding me? Alright. We need to focus up and find that remaining plasteel, as we just received a new quest that might be our ticket off this rock. It is called the Royal Ascent, but unfortunately it requires Hund to have the Count title within the Empire, which happens to be the final title given and requires 65 honor. And let me check my records here. Yep. That's right. Hund now has 12 honor after we finished that doggy daycare quest, so we aren't even close to the 65 honor needed. Don't forget to add in the fact that we have 1 year remaining until this planet goes bye-bye. So for those reasons, I'm out. Hund gets to scanning, but it takes a lot of his energy to resist the call of the club. And what better way to acquire the energy he needs to focus than through gamer subs? I have formed a strategic alliance with GamerSups to supply me with liquid courage in the form of their delicious caffeine-free energy supplements for my important business meetings. You know, the ones where you have to flex naked outside a super target while getting signatures on your petition to deport Macklemore. It is hard work pushing through these 18-hour meetings, but I down ample amounts of the nutrients needed from the GamerSups I mixed up in Sakura-san, my waifu cup. She is the closest thing I have to a girlfriend besides my right hand, and I get to show her off to everyone I know, especially my family that definitely approves of my relationship with a shaker cup. So if you want the energy and the courage to complete your dreams, goals, and business dealings, and or want a perfectly healthy relationship with an anime woman printed on a shaker, check out GamerSups today using the link on screen. And don't forget to use my code KibblesJack pinned in the comments below for 10% off. But if you decide not to check it out, I'm sorry, but our bi-weekly cuddle sessions are canceled. With Hund's new revitalization through the power of GamerSups and AirPod-shaped 2D women, he achieves what seemed impossible. We finally found plasteel! And our salvation is only a few days' journey, so Zeep, Glorp, and Jessica gather our donkeys that I don't remember obtaining. But we take them out to go mine that shit. This is perfect timing too, as we have only 1 year remaining before the planet is no more. The excavation team arrives and begins to mine the plasteel in between puking sessions. Yeah, Zeep might have gotten a little food poisoning, but if you think about it, he's kind of like a dragon, but instead of breathing fire, it's vomit. Now I know it was a struggle to obtain that plasteel, and I am proud of— oh wait, a merchant arrived. Of course they have plasteel, why wouldn't they? We're gonna buy this up, but don't tell the other 2 colonists who journeyed to get some. They might get suspicious though when they see the finished multi-analyzer. What a relief. It feels like I'm no longer getting railed by RimWorld anymore, as we can finally progress in the tech tree. And given that we still have over 50 days left, we might have a shot at winning this challenge. Oh, hey guys! Welcome back with that much needed plasteel. We will definitely use it to finish the multi-analyzer. Now that I think about it, we actually did use it to build a multi-analyzer, an additional one. For some reason, I was under the impression that one multi-analyzer could only connect to a single research bench. I don't know why, as I have known an analyzer can cover several benches. I guess I just forgot. So that second analyzer is a waste. Speaking of waste, the Empire wants us to waste some fools for them. We have to bait out and fight 2 waves of raiders, but the Empire will drop off 3 champions to fight for us. We just have to babysit them for 4 days. But when those punks arrive, well, not the punks for the quest, they are just some random hooligans, as this clan is different from the one in the quest. It doesn't matter though, our champions will crush them. But just to be safe, we call in some more muscle. We are progressing through the tech tree so fast now with the bonuses from these stupid expensive multi-analyzers, it made us forget that winter is here, which might make our general poor food situation worse. Or maybe it was that party we threw for the champions that made us forget about our potential starvation. Does anyone really care though? Day 49, the day our champions served their purpose, as the actual first wave of the quest raid reared its stanky head. However, we have been using up our goodwill with the Empire like crazy and only have 40 left. But is that gonna stop me? Alternative question. Would the fight be cooler with more combatants? Yes. The Imperial drop troops engaged, followed by our champions, who beat the shit out of the raiders. But when the second wave hits, our base is left wide open. Zeep has to hold off these barbarians until our Linda champions arrive to finish the horde. It was a bloody battle, one that ended up getting Hund to 17 honor. He is so close to becoming a knight that we should probably throw him a pre-knighthood party. What a way to end the first half of our escape mission, as we are now on day 50, and we have used up half our time. But we still have a lot more to accomplish if we're gonna survive. Like entering the slave trade. A slave trading ship showed up in orbit, and they are willing to buy the guy we captured in the previous day's battle. But he's only worth $58? That's bullshit! I feel like I don't even want to sell him now. That price is just offensive. But I do like money. That sucked. But what doesn't suck is us finishing the research for advanced fabrication, and now we begin the research for Starflight Basics, which is the first step to crafting our escape route. But first, we gotta kill some bugs. We accepted a quest from the Empire to squash some roaches, but the infestation happened to appear inside our base. We immediately evacuated the building, but made sure to call in the exterminators, who believe at their core that the only good bug is a dead bug. We are left with the trashed base, which will take us some time to clean up, but it was all worth it, as Hund can now become a knight in the Empire. However, there are some prerequisites we need to complete before we get a random homeless wizard to bestow Hund with the title. First, Hund needs a throne room, and second, he requires a more spacious resting quarters. We begin digging out the space and clearing rocks from Hund's future throne room. In between solar flares knocking out our comms and swarms of bloodthirsty, possibly horny for Zeep, rats. But we survived, standing tall on top of the mountain of rat corpses, and finished Starflight Basics. We have a few options for the next ship part to research, but obviously it has to be the reactor. Why is that obvious? Well, it actually isn't unless you've played the game before. I'll clue you in later. What I will tell you now is that we need more money. And looky here, a combat supplier showed up. Now I can sell them my stockpile of guns with the serial numbers filed off. We finished Hund's throne room, after a bit of an extended break, as it appears Braff might have a touch of consumption. Yet we immediately move on to building Hund's new spacious bedroom, and it was finished simultaneously with our reactor research. We can place down the blueprint for the reactor, but we are missing some of the plasteel, advanced components, and uranium to actually build it. I'm not too worried about the uranium as we built our base right on top of a deposit filled with the stuff. I am a bit worried about the plasteel, but that is a problem for another day. Right now, I will focus on the advanced components. With the bedroom and throne room finished, wait, the throne room isn't actually finished. The room still needs 20 impressiveness. Please hold while we do some renovations. While that is going on, an exotic goods trader shows up, and fortunately for us, they have advanced components and plasteel. Unfortunately, I am broke. We sell off a few of the donkeys to buy as many of the goods as possible, but we are still missing some of the resources necessary to build the reactor. To remedy this, we want to unlock those sweet Imperial trade offers, so don't worry, Hund, we will get you your knighthood soon. But first, we need you to finish researching machine persuasion to build the computer core of the ship. However, this part requires a persona core to build. We did receive an offer for information on one, but it required us to have 40 goodwill with the faction Witteron, and we have 1. So let's table that part of our build so Hund can focus on being pretty and researching the remaining 3 ship parts. I actually take that back, because the renovations on your throne room are complete. It just required me to force Braff to get the work done. So stop researching and attend your ceremony. No, not that one. The one where the Imperial Wizard arrives and fills your brain with thoughts of femboys or something. Though his mind is now filled with smut, Hund is promoted to the rank of Knight. This title grants him access to 2 permits within the Empire. We use the first one to gain access to an on-call trooper squad. It's just an additional way to call in Imperial help. And the second, we spend on a silver drop. Did I mention we're broke? We immediately redeem it to acquire money to spend on resources later. But it won't cover everything, so we probably should focus on resource harvesting as we are running out of days. We halt the research of the spaceship's engines and instead focus on getting deep drilling and ground penetrating scanners. And we build the new scanner on day 69. Nice. Now we can split up our 2 researchers, so one is doing the tech research while the other is scanning the map for precious minerals. But obviously, we need to celebrate as this new tech will ensure our victory. There is a 100% chance, no doubt in my mind. According to the RimWorld wiki, we need 40 advanced components minimum to build the final ship. So Hund gets to crafting some of the components for us. However, the process is eating into our plasteel supplies, and that shit is expensive since we are buying most of it while we're waiting for our scanners to detect mineable sources. Yet I do have a partial solution to counteract the high cost of the plasteel: organ harvesting. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. I haven't sold a guy for $50 when I could have harvested his heart for $1,200. Did I not think of it because I'm developing a sense of morality? Gross. We need to fix this now. In the midst of my internal crisis, a group of poor, desperate children wandered over. So I immediately captured as many as I could and extracted their hearts. Hund then took the children's hearts and sold them at the nearest Imperial base for advanced components and plasteel. We are in the final stretch of our 100 days, as we only have 25 days left before we become the opposite of alive. We have a bit of time to prepare. Prepare for what exactly? Well, after we finish building the reactor of the ship, we have to start it up, and it takes 15 days to charge. During that time, our camp will be under a relentless siege. So we probably have to be prepared to defend ourselves, and not solely rely on the Empire for protection like we've been doing. Therefore, Braff gets to work on a hastily built party funnel. It really has nothing to do with partying unless your definition of the word is running through spike traps into a narrow hallway with a gun turret at the end, and if you make it past that, there are more turrets waiting for you. So yeah, that kind of party. But once we finish our shitty kill box that probably won't work, Holmes sits on his throne and contemplates the group's survival. We have completed most of the tech tree and built up a bank of goodwill with the Empire to call in several waves of reinforcements. We're just waiting around for the right time to begin the 15 days of hell once we start the reactor. But enough pondering. Hund has a we're all going to die party to attend. On day 82, the perfect timing arrives in the form of a bulk goods caravan, which doesn't sell any advanced components, by the way. These caravanners will provide extra security if we're attacked, so now is as good of a time as any to start up that reactor and begin the 15 days of raids, which should come to an end before the asteroid impacts. But we shouldn't forget that we're still in a race against time to finish the research and build the ship parts required to escape. Surprisingly, on the first day, no raids have showed up so far. I thought I would jinx myself by saying that. The only thing we really did today was build some new fire generators, as I realized the old ones being outside our wall is a potential weakness that could cripple our power grid. But as I said, there were no major threats and the day went smoothly into the night, when our first raid appeared. They don't look that strong, but we don't want to blow our load calling in the Empire too quickly. So we're going to brave this raid ourselves, and by we, I mean our spike traps, which took care of enough of the raiders that the remaining started to flee. Hey, stop breaking those doors. Just go to your left, it's open. We saved the door, but more importantly, we also saved one of the raiders' lives by capturing them. That is until we ripped out their heart to be sold for resources later. You might be wondering why these raids seem kinda weak. It isn't because I'm playing on a low difficulty. I chose Blood and Dust because the name is much cooler than that lame losing is fun. The reason for the weaker raids is I have intentionally kept my colony's wealth relatively low by not stockpiling resources even though there are valuable materials available to me. Our base barely has time to recover from the last raid when a mech hive drops in. I'm thinking these guys are an Empire problem. And good news is that some of these robots drop plasteel. In addition to this new source, we also received a quest to provoke some bugs in exchange for the metallic gold. That doesn't make any sense, because gold is already metallic. I was really trying to do a play on liquid gold in reference to oil, but the point is we're gonna hold on to this quest for now and activate it later. The next day, with 11 days remaining on the reactor, we partied to maintain a good standing with the Empire, so when raids show up, we can call them in and we have 5 hours left on our cooldown. So we can't call them in this time and have to deal with this one raid ourselves. Oh, and that boomalope started a fire, but it doesn't seem like a big deal though. And this hallway turret appears to be useless, but we still thwart the attack. However, that boomalope fire appears to have gotten just a little bit bigger. Ah shit. We eventually saved some of our corn stalks, and hopefully there is enough food left to get us to the end of the game. In addition to the crops, the fire took out some of our power lines, causing the base to go dark. I had to manually force Braff to work through the night to restore it, and it was a good thing too, as the next day a raid appeared and we were able to call in our friends to beat them up, which left us with 2 unwilling organ donors. While these Imperial reinforcements are hanging out at our base, I might as well start that quest to cause an infestation and have them deal with it for us, granting us that precious plasteel. Side note, when we called in those Imperial reinforcements that are currently squashing the bugs, I also called for an Imperial trader, which arrived after the infestation. Therefore, we exchanged organs for materials we need. But I think Braff is getting a little weighed down by all the harvesting of human body parts for financial gain. Hopefully his mood improves, as it would be a problem if our builder has a mental break. Luckily, I have just the remedy, and would you look at that, the best possible outcome. What do you say we do it again? Don't tell Braff though that these parties aren't actually for him, we just needed to get our relations up with the Empire as we started the day with only plus 23 goodwill, and you need 31 to call in reinforcements without losing our alliance. The next day, we finished researching all the tech required for the spaceship, but we have to hold off on the celebrations, as not 1, but 2 raids appear. So I do what I normally do and call in the Imperials who get in a brawl with the human raiders. But the Imperials wind up fleeing. Thanks for all your help. Lucky for me, the raiders picked a fight with the mechs that also dropped in, surprisingly winning the fight. But they passed out from their wounds short after, so we recruit them into our organ donation program. Now that that is taken care of, we party. Not once, but twice. We have to keep our Imperial relationship up so Hoon can request more trade caravans to sell all these organs. One thing I forgot to mention from yesterday is that Pyra was long-range scanning and found a plasteel pile. We have hope, so we host a pre-mining expedition party and send our best miners out to save us all. The 2 we sent also happen to be our best fighters, but I'm sure the 3 of us who remain will be able to hold down the fort for the remaining 6.9 days left for the reactor to charge. I was wrong. With 10 days left until our extinction, another combo raid arrived at our base. Luckily, the previous parties gave us enough goodwill to call the Imperials, and they sent only 4 guys? Seriously? They're probably gonna die, but at least they'll get to have some fun in the all-out 3-way brawl. While that battle rages, our caravan arrived at the site to mine that sweet plasteel. So I couldn't get that Persona core for the ship in that quest earlier, but the Empire is offering the same deal. For 1,500 buckaroos and 40 goodwill, they will give us the location of one. The trouble is, we don't have the silver, or the goodwill. But an Imperial caravan arrived to buy up our human organs, building us a nice nest egg of 1,600 silver. We just need to get our goodwill up with the Empire, and that Persona core will be ours. Also, the caravan arrived at a good time as another raid showed up, so hopefully the caravan will deal with them and they're leaving us. So in the early hours of day 92, we have to hold off the raiders ourselves, but the battle takes a toll on our wall, shattering it. Without the wall, we feel naked as the Tolkien old guy just hanging out with his balls also hanging out in the locker room. Fortunately, our caravan finished mining the last of the plasteel and we'll be back in 2 days. They should make it back in time to fight with us during the final hours of the reactor's initialization. In our darkest, most defenseless hour, the enemies are at our gates. In our current condition, we can't defeat them. So Hund uses the power of his knighthood to call in a trooper squad to fight in our place. We only get this one shot as it has a 40-day cooldown. But their great sacrifice is one Hund is actually kind of okay with. The whole situation seems hopeless. We still have 3 days left on the reactor, our base is a mess, our people are sick, we can only call the Empire in one more time before our alliance is dissolved, and all our parties have high recharge times. If we were to start one now, the chance of a bad outcome is extremely high. But Hund hasn't given up. On day 94, he shows his conviction by calling in the Empire one last time to defeat our foes, yet shattering our long-held brotherhood, forged through parties. Yet in the wake of the depressing loss of our friend, our caravan arrives back home, with our lifeline known as plasteel. We have a legitimate shot now at beating the odds and leaving this planet, so we lay out the blueprints of our ship and prepare to defend the reactor until the last man is left standing. And on day 96, our final fight begins, and we will give everything to defend our hope of escape. But Zeep has fallen in battle, and now he is being taken away from us. Quick, Julia, make a mad dash to catch up and try to stop the kidnapper. She chases him to the edge of the map, but she saves Zeep with only a few seconds to spare. Yet the rest of the colonists are pretty banged up, and we don't have any more medicine to treat their wounds, as the last of it was used to cure Pyra's illness. But besides all that, the reactor is finally ready. Though we have this good news, the stress of the past few days has started to affect everyone. And this got Hund thinking, what is even the point of trying to escape off this world? We only have a few days remaining, our ship isn't even ready, and we probably don't have the resources to finish it anyway. We never even obtained a Persona core. We spent all these days trying to achieve the impossible, and in doing so, the Hund Pack lost their original identity. They were never rugged survivors capable of pulling this whole thing off. In reality, they just like to have a good time. So fuck this ship, fuck the planet killer, and especially fuck plasteel. Because on day 100, as the clock ticks down to impact, they throw one last party, and the boys dance like the old days, dancing like the world is ending. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video or are a really cool person, you should check out my last video where RimWorld is plunged into darkness as monsters and dark entities terrorize the inhabitants, and the only way to save the world is with fire.